but you were doing it. And what is this shit? 207, your name or whatever. It doesn't mean that you're the only begotten Son of the Father, because Jonathan Nolan, fake Elijah, says something about an apartment 207. Crazy ass.
40. By the way, that one is 7 distinct genocides in less than 13 verses. Genocide of Jericho, which is found in Joshua 6:21. There's like 11 more in Joshua, more in 1 Samuel. Even as far as Jeremiah 50:21, we have an example of actual genocide. Read these verses for yourself. Understand the context. Look at what happens before and what happens after to see that it is not hyperbole. How many innocent women and children, hell, even the men, were no worse, at least, than the Israelites. Most of the tribes that get genocided for their evil deeds, their sin, their rejection of God, their wickedness, etc., are literally no different or have done even less harm or even less against God, Yahweh, than his own chosen people group. This is a God of favorites. And if you're not a favorite and you disobey, you get completely destroyed, utterly taken.
Okay, shut your mouth about this, because he judged his own people more severely than those that are no people to him. So by judging his own people more severely, then it means that he's not making favorites. He's being just as harsh with the people that he loves, that with the people that he hates. In different ways, yes, but you cannot say that he's making favorites and his favorites are not going to be hurt by his mighty hand, because you've got his people that he loved the most, he judged the most harshly. That's all an indication of a just and righteous God to me, because if the people that he loved, he did judge more harshly, then it means that there's no favoritism. He judges people even though he loved them. No favoritism. Let me make a very easy comparison. He's saying that he loved Jacob, and he said that he will not go unpunished. No favoritism. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. So he loved Jacob. Is he judging? Is he punishing Jacob? Or is he making favoritism? But fear not thou, O my servant Jacob, and be not dismayed, O Israel, for behold, I will save thee from afar. Okay, that's one thing, but also the thing about O Jacob, I my servant, said the Lord, for I am with thee, for I will make a full end of all the nation whither I have driven thee. But fear do not, O Jacob, my servant, said the Lord, for I am with thee. For I will make a full end of all nations whither I have driven thee. But I will not make a full end of thee, but correct thee in measure, yet will I not leave thee wholly unpunished. So he's getting punished. And the Lord loved him. So it's showing what? No favoritism. He loved Jacob, and he's saying, I will not leave thee wholly unpunished. So he's punishing him, correct with measure, correct thee in measure. No favoritism. No favoritism, okay?
You know, Jonathan, I don't know how you can keep saying that over and over, that the Lord God didn't have favorites. Of course he did. Israel was the apple of his eye, remember? It was his inheritance in, Deuteronomy 32. Israel was his inheritance. So, of course, he's going to play favorites. They're his people. Now, if he's mad at them, he goes away from them, turns his back, and lets the enemy kill his people when he's mad at them. But as far as being, a favorite, of course he is. He's the one that led him out of Egypt and into Canaan. He's the one that came to destroy all these other nations so that their people could have the land of milk and honey that was promised to them. That's Jehovah. And we're going to look at chapter 31. The Midianites are spoiled and Balaam slain. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites. Afterward shalt thou be gathered unto thy people. And Moses spake unto the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves unto the war, and let them go against the Midianites, and avenge the Lord of Midian. Of every tribe 1,000, throughout all the tribes of Israel, ye shall send to war. So there were delivered out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war. And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe. Them and Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest, to the war with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand. And they warred against the Midianites as the Lord commanded Moses. And they slew all the males, and they slew the kings of Midian, besides the rest of them that were slain, namely Evi, and Rechem, and Zur, and Hur, and Reba, 5 kings of Midian. Balaam also the son of Beor they slew with the sword. And the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captives, and their little ones, and took the spoils of all their cattle, and their flocks, and all their goods. And they burnt all their cities wherein they dwelt, and all their goodly castles with fire. And they took the spoil and the prey of both men and of beasts. And they brought the captives and the prey and the spoil unto Moses and Eleazar the priest, and unto the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the camp at the plains of Moab, where are by Jordan near Jericho. And Moses and Eleazar the priest, and all the princes of the congregation went forth to meet them without the camp. And Moses was wroth with the officers of the host, with the captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, which came from the battle. And Moses said unto them, Have ye saved all the women alive? Behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor, and there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that hath known man by lying with him. But all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. What in the world was that supposed to mean? But all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. What do you suppose these people are going to do with those young girls? Because there's no boys in there. Those are all virgin girls. Anybody that's known a man by lying with them, they were to be killed. They killed every little male. It didn't matter how old they were. If maybe later on they were going to come back and fight against Israel as a vengeance tactic or something like that, they put a stop to it. They killed all the males. The only ones they kept were the virgin females. Now why is that? What did they do with them? They didn't send them off to some school. No, they became property. That's sick. And then when they came back with all the spoils of war, they had to divvy it up. They divvied it up among the men that went out to war and then the congregation that stayed back. But what's funny is the Lord gets a cut of it too. Oh yeah. And right here's where they describe how they portion it out. And there's one question that I really need to get an answer from, Jonathan. It's, why was the Lord given 32 virgins? Why was the Lord given 32 virgins as part of his spoil? And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take the sum of the prey that was taken, both of man and of beast, thou and Eleazar the priest and the chief fathers of the congregation, and divide the prey into 2 parts between them that took the war upon them who went out to battle, and between the congregation. And levy a tribute unto the Lord of the men of the war which went out to battle, 1 soul of 500, both of the persons, and of the beeves, and of the asses, and of the sheep. You see how they just throw that in there? Of the persons and the beeves. They're just throwing people in there just like they were chattel. Because they were. They became, spoils of war. take it of their half, and give it unto Eleazar the priest, for a heave offering unto the Lord. And of the children of Israel half, thou shalt take one portion of 50 of the persons, of the beeves, of the asses, and of the flocks, of all manner of beasts, and give them unto the Levites which keep the charge of the tabernacle of the Lord. And Moses and Eleazar the priest did as the Lord commanded Moses. And the booty, being the rest of the prey which the men of war had caught, was 600,000 and 70,000 and 5,000 sheep, and 12,000 beeves, and 1,000 asses, and 32,000 persons in all, of women that had not known man by lying with him. So at the end of this war, they took in as spoils 32,000 virgins. 32,000 little girls. What are you going to do with 32,000 little girls? Well, he already said over here, but all the women, children, those are the little girls that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. I guess it's up to your imagination, but I don't think they send her to trade school or anything like that. She becomes a sex slave. It's that simple. And then a portion of it goes to the Levites. And the half which was the portion of them that went out to war was in number 300,070 and 30,500 sheep. And the Lord's tribute of the sheep was 615. And the beeves were 30 and 6,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 12. And the asses were 30,500, of which the Lord's tribute was 1. And of the persons, listen, of the persons, those are the virgins, they kind of, I think they kind of purposely leave that aspect out of there and just label them as the persons. But the persons were 16,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 32 persons. So the Lord was given 32 virgins. What did the Lord do with his tribute, the 32 virgins? I would like to know. Were they a burnt sacrifice? I know the animals go as a burnt sacrifice, so why wouldn't the 32 virgins? Doesn't say anywhere that they weren't burnt. And Moses gave the tribute, which was the Lord's heave offering, unto Eleazar the priest, as the Lord commanded Moses. So all these things are commandments from the Lord. He gets his cut. Whenever there's a bunch of gold, whenever there's a bunch of, sheep, anything like that, the Lord gets his cut. If not, he gets all of it, but sometimes he lets his people have some too. In this case, he ended up with 32 virgins, Jonathan, that I'd kind of like to find out what happened to. Could you help me out on this one? And since I had mentioned Deuteronomy 32, because this is where it states that the Most High divided the nations, their inheritance. And he's the one that ended up with Jacob. Jehovah ended up with Jacob as his inheritance. Here, let me read it. 32, I'll read 7 through 12. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land and in the waste howling wilderness. He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirreth up her nest, fluttereth over her young, spreadeth abroad her wings, taketh them, beareth them on her wings. So the Lord alone did lead him, and there was no strange God with him. So are you telling me that Israel or Jacob wouldn't have been considered his favorite? Are you saying that every other nation was equal in the Lord God's eyes? No, his favorite nation was Israel, his inheritance.